Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome into the 143 with episode 174. Nick, how are we doing today?
Another day in the life, just another good week. We're recording on Monday night, so this is pre-game 4 of the Stars versus the Jets series. Things are looking up. Stars are ahead 2-1. By the time this episode comes out, hopefully we'll be ahead 3-1. Knock on wood. And lost my train of thought. Anyways, Mikko Rantanen on another tear, as usual, just getting better and better as these playoffs go on. Jake Ottinger been absolutely phenomenal night in, night out. So things are looking up for Dallas.
Yeah, it's actually, not an amazing time to be a Dallas sports fan, but it's been better here in the recent days. Today, Monday, the Dallas Mavericks got the first pick in the NBA draft. A lot of people think we're going to take Cooper Flagg just because he's supposed to be one of the better talents of this century. Not going to get into that, but the NBA is definitely rigged. That just shows you because of the Luka trade and us getting the number one pick when we had 1.8% chance of getting that in a lottery, supposed to be random, quote unquote. We're not going to get into that, but the NBA is just hard to watch because they pull stunts like this. So, but congrats to Dallas. And then what we're really here to talk about, the third reason it's been a good week to be a Dallas sports fan. Jerry actually signed somebody in free agency. Oh, my goodness. I know. We're all as surprised as you are. We'll kick it off with the stat of the week brought to you by Andrews Logistics. George Pickens is your newest member of the Dallas Cowboys, wide receiver out of Pittsburgh. Pickens has 8 100-yard games in his first 3 years of playing. We liked his stats coming out. To be a great wide receiver too with CeeDee Lamb. What's something we've been saying time and time again, Dallas needs a wide receiver too. Me and Nick have said it multiple times. They didn't draft one, so we were hoping we would sign one in free agency. Well, we went out and got the Steelers' number one guy from last year to be our number two next across from CeeDee. We'll get into talking more about that here in a little bit, but that's your stat of the week. Welcome to the team, George.
Huge signing. Was not expecting it. Thought there was no way this is real. This has to be a scam. Yeah. Like Twitter, ESPN, everything is lying to me. I know Jerry didn't do that. Player of the week, alluded to him earlier. Mikko Rantanen, just have to do it. Played Monday night. Obviously, this is before Tuesday, so whatever happens tomorrow could throw off these stats a little bit. But as of right now, through 10 games played, 9 goals, 9 assists, 8 points. So he has been nothing short of incredible. Was somewhat silent the first 4 or so games in that Colorado series, and then he really livened up there at the end. Obviously, the big story was he scored 2 hat tricks in a row, Game 7 against Colorado, and then Game 1 against Winnipeg. And the fellas got a nice win on Sunday afternoon against Winnipeg at home. It was nice to finally have an afternoon game. We've been playing a lot of 8:30 games, but those games don't start till 8:50. So those have been tough. But it was nice to get one in the afternoon. So appreciate that, and then hopefully he'll propel us into the Stanley Cup. We'll stay tuned for that in the upcoming weeks.
Yep, Stars are on a good run right now. They're the only thing keeping us alive here in Dallas right now. So
we'll throw some controversy in there. That Alexander Petrovic goal was absolutely a good goal. If you don't think it was a good goal, then you need to watch some more hockey. Wasn't a kicking motion. Bounced off of his skate and was clearly going through the hash marks in the slot until it went off on the defender's skate, and then Hellebuck tipped it in and threw it into his own net. So if you ask me, that was a good goal, great call. Took them about 10 minutes to make that during the game. Almost made it through the entire song of Freebird while they were making that call at the iPad. So It was a long
Yeah.
one, but long story short, it was a good goal. And sure, take that goal away. Guess what? You still lose the game 4-2. So
Great win. Hopefully we get another one Tuesday night. So when you're listening to this on Wednesday, you're feeling even better about yourself. So unless you're a Jets fan. So let's dive into it. Let's talk Cowboys football. It's been a minute. I guess we talked a little bit about them with the draft. Had a good draft. PFF gave us an A+ grade. And then, man, I think it was last week on Wednesday morning at about 5 a.m., Twitter starts blowing up. Sorry, X starts blowing up. George Pickens is a Dallas Cowboy. And I, like Nick, also had to make sure I checked the handles on all these people tweeting about it just to make sure it wasn't the, some burner accounts. Yeah. Just making sure it was legit. And it is George Pickens. I'll just start off by saying what I think. It's hard to complain when you saw an offseason like last offseason where we did nothing and addressed no needs. George Pickens is a great receiver. He's got a lot of talent. And the biggest thing is now it's going to be really hard to double CD when there's another guy who's been a bona fide number one receiver on the other side of the field. So in theory, I love this trade. I love having another receiver. I'm really proud of Jerry, man. This is just something we don't see him do. The only concern is George Pickens has an attitude issue, or did in Pittsburgh, kind of a cancer in the locker room, a really big diva.
Locker room virus.
Yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. But the Cowboys fan in me right now is excited because now we at least have another offensive weapon.
The talent level is obviously there. It speaks for itself, but the only concern it's just up here in the mind. He likes to complain about not getting targeted, not getting, the ball and stuff like that. But he's going to have to kind of be prepared to not get the ball as much just because he's coming from a number one receiver position to now he's going to move into number two. I do think he is going to be an absolute weapon because the thing last year is that teams were able to double, even triple CeeDee Lamb, and that we still couldn't make him pay for it. And the big thing as well is there's no excuses for Dak this year.
Zero.
If we stink, it's kind of on you. Went out and got you some help in the O-line room. We at least have a young, fresh running back in there. Don't know how Jaden Blue's going to be. We'll see what happens. And obviously went out and got George Pickens, who's been a clear-cut wide receiver one for a good bit, and now he's going to come in and tear it up offensively. The defense also got shored up as well.
Man. Defense looks good.
Took care of business getting some defensive guys, so there's really no excuses this year.
Yeah, I also Matt Eberflus, defensive coordinator. I think the defense will be a lot better this year. It should be a lot better. Better players, better coordinator, in my opinion. The thing is with George Pickens, I think he knew coming into Dallas. That you're already the number two. So he's not coming in with the expectation of being the number one guy because we're paying, $30-something million to our number one guy right now. And CD is top three, if not top two wide receivers in the league right now. So, George Pickens, I think he knows that. It's a contract year. He's playing to get that second contract to get some big wide receiver money. It might not be in Dallas, but he's playing to prove something to the NFL. Playing with a chip on his shoulder. And, dude, also, something that's not talked about with George Pickens very often, great blocking receiver. So he's not afraid to give his body, put his body on the line for the team. And, like Nick said, the O-line short up. We've got running backs. Who knows if they're great. But behind any great O-line, a running back can be somewhat decent. A good receiving core, good tight ends. Yeah, Dak's got zero. He's got zero excuses this year. So we'll see.
With George Pickens' blocking ability, that's huge for Dallas because we're going to need that on first down and on third and longs because that's prime running play territory right there. And
Yes, it
then
is.
also didn't mention him, but he deserves to be mentioned. Jake Ferguson, he's been on the up and up, really made a name for himself over the last couple seasons, and so he's a solid weapon there at tight end. And so now that we're pointing out all these weapons that Dak has, I mean, there is literally no excuse.
And Joe
It's
Milton,
you're the problem.
Nick knows this. I'm high on Joe Milton the third, our backup quarterback right now. I really like what I saw from him out in New England. All right. Dak, just know you got a young guy behind you who's ready to go. All right. And he's got a cannon for an arm, and you don't. So I just think Dak needs to be aware that Cowboys fans are giving you approximately one more season because the head coaches have changed, the coordinators have changed, and you've been here through it all. Obviously, Jerry's the common denominator, but even Jerry got in on it this offseason by signing some talent for you, which that doesn't normally happen. So there literally is no excuse. Now let's pivot. Next week, we're going to actually talk about the schedules that will come out Wednesday afternoon. We'll go into depth about the schedule, some exciting games, but we do know for a fact that the first game of the season has come out today will be Dallas going to Philadelphia on Thursday Night Football. Of course, they want to make the Cowboys the laughing stock of the league. First game of the season. So we're going into a very hostile environment against our most hated rival to take on the defending champs. Try to dethrone them at home, and it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough one. So, Nick, I don't know what you think about that. I kind of feel like it's better to catch them early. Philly's not as good at the beginning of the season.
I think that's our best shot to beat them in Philly would be first game of the season just because coming straight off the offseason, so not going to be clicking quite as good as you would if you were to play them in week 15 or 16 or something like that. So maybe we'll see some magic there, but just not super excited to, kick off the season in Philadelphia. That's just a brutal way to get going, but you were going to have to do it eventually. So you could put the league on watch. I don't think they will, but you never know. We'll see.
The spread came out already today. It's 7 points. They're not really expecting us to come within a touchdown, is what that says of the Eagles. I do think if we put in a really good offseason, if these guys mesh really well together in camp and during the preseason, we have on paper right now, we have a better team than we did last year. It's just going to come down to the execution. It's going to come down to Dak bringing out, his best ball. We cannot be only whooping up on garbage teams this year. We got to be going toe to toe with the big dogs, which would be the Eagles starting it out. And it's going to be interesting.
Huge question mark. I was going to say a huge question mark at head coach Brian Schottenheimer. No idea what this guy is about.
Really don't know anything about him.
Obviously, we were extremely baffled to see that he was even considered, but maybe for whatever reason we'll hit the lottery and he'll blow everyone away and be decent. But we'll see how that one goes.
He's got more of a leadership personality. I think he's just got more of a personality in general than Mike McCarthy. I have liked his, press conferences. He's got a good persona putting out there, and he seems to be more of a guy that can connect with the players than big Mike McCarthy. So, I think Shoddy could have a chance. It's just going to come down to the execution, and it's going to come down to us winning games, and that's what it's all about. There's a solid chance the Cowboys could be last in the division this year. That's how good the division could be. I think no doubt it'll be between, barring any injuries, the Cowboys and the Giants because, the Commanders are looking great on paper, and obviously the Eagles are defending champs. So we'll see about that.
The Giants got a lot better, too, in the offseason. But I do think we should finish above 500. I do think we'll definitely do that. But I say definitely do. I think we should be able to do that. But, you never know.
Hey, Another little tidbit though, Dak is 9-4 against the Eagles in his career. He's not the kind of guy that shies away when we play the Eagles. Kind of weird though. I feel like in the last couple of years we have not seen like Dak versus Jalen Hurts very much. It's like it's been Dak versus Gardner Minshew or Cooper Rush versus Jalen Hurts. So, first game of the season, barring injuries, we should see a healthy Dak versus a healthy Jalen Hurts. A healthy Cowboys and a healthy Eagles going at it. No weather to be worried about unless there's rain, but like no snow or freezing weather like that. So I kind of agree with you. The time to play in Philly will be September, first game of the season. And then we don't have to go back until playoffs, potentially, knock on wood. But, I don't appreciate the league making us the first game of the season because we were 7-10 last year. So I don't know.
Yeah, that was kind of random.
But I was telling somebody today, I think that we're going to break the record for the most watched first game of the NFL season, mainly because recently records have just been being broken in terms of viewership in the NFL. So I think it'll be higher this year. But also, anytime the Cowboys are playing in these primetime spots against a division rival, like that Thanksgiving game against the Giants, like we're going to break that record. And I do think that it'll be the most watched opening night of the season. So we'll see when the numbers come out. We're gonna bookmark this clip though, because it will be coming back to it when I'm right.
That is true. So we want to stay tuned for that one.
Yep.
But here's like to end our shows on Under Review. Brought to you a quote from the Muhammad Ali, and he said, "It isn't the mountains ahead to climb that wear you out. It's the pebble in your shoe."
Ain't that the truth? Got to focus on clearing up the small stuff. Put your what's it called? Rocks before the sand or something. I don't know. This isn't really a quote show. We talk about sports. So thank you all for tuning in this week. We'll see you next week for our schedule release review episode of the NFL here on Under Review.